That,
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Paris on the Potomac. By the way, this is what is today? My God, this is
today
the
is Friday,
second, the
February
sixth,
6th.
6th of February. Friday, we're what are we? A year and a couple of days into this nightmare.
Yeah, it is the year 2026.
And
So I'm told.
yeah, did you go to
And
the thing last night on the data center thing in at Shepherd?
I didn't. And I meant to read the online observer, and I haven't even done that yet today. I usually try to read and get kind of an update.
I was
Um,
gonna go, but I decided to wait because I'm likely to get into an argument with people, and rather than do that, um, I'm going to get more data. I actually attended a class sponsored by the Southeastern Gap region. They had a woman on there named Samantha Smith, who's I think one of the chief assistants to President Liz Schuler,
okay.
and very well informed on both the environment and energy. So
Okay.
her, she was asked, of course, about the data center controversy everywhere. And well, okay, so just to summarize a little bit, it turns out that for most of the um, newer data centers, the design of them has been changed considerably. And they don't use, for example, endless amounts of water. They recycle the same water over and over again.
Okay, so yeah,
And
I'm just reading here that last week a key West Virginia legislative committee approved changes to the state's new rules for large data centers and on-site power generation projects. So
right,
there are things that were changed. They passed House Bill 2014, and this law shifts authority for large data center projects from local governments to the state,
yeah,
directing most of the resulting tax revenue to the state rather than local jurisdictions.
right. And that's
Um,
what I mean. Whether that's good or bad depends on actually answering one question: will the taxes be used for education and healthcare, or will it be consumed by a bunch of assholes?
right, right.
Okay, that's the big question there. All right, because
Yeah, so
right now,
there's,
judging by what Morrissey's saying, it's going to be completely consumed by assholes.
well, I can forward this to you. It's pretty
Yeah.
thorough. If anybody, I really, people that are into local happenings, I do encourage people to subscribe to the Observer Weekly.
Yeah.
And Steve Pearson does a wonderful job with
He does. He's
local
been
news and
a
West
good
Virginia
guy.
news. So, anyway,
But anyway, so and then it also turns out that the actual employment levels at these data centers, because first of all, they take a long time to build or to build out, and second, they get rehabbed every 5 years because the technology keeps changing so fast. Okay, and they have to,
uh,
better chips, better whatever, that kind of stuff.
sure.
And so so it's really about we're talking about a 10-year period where there's going to be anywhere from 2 to 5,000 workers
Hmm.
on these data centers. That's a lot of people. And and then this is based on the information on the newer ones in Virginia, which has the most data centers of I think any place in the world right
I think you're right.
now.
Mhm.
And the old ones, of course, were guilty of all the things that have been charged. Namely, they were reuse. They weren't reusing water. They were using endless amounts of water, And two, they were the the power generation costs were being, handed off basically to the grid, whatever the state, and the regional grid was, and that's anticipated to have a great big impact on electric rates. And we all have seen what's happening to our electric rates already, I believe.
Oh my goodness
Um,
gracious, yes.
and but it turns out, because there's quite a bit of misinformation, right? It turns out that if you were looking down the road 2 years from now, that yes, the impact, the press of the use of power by these data centers would be ramping up demand, doubling it almost really. And if you go down the road, depending on how high you think the demand for AI related computation is going to be, um, well, it could be huge.
Yeah.
But it turns out actually that the rise in electric prices right now is not due to AI. It turns out it's due to Trump's obsession with natural gas and forcing Europe to buy natural gas from him rather than the boycotted Russian gas, which was
Right.
much cheaper, okay, to Europe anyway. And that because now he has to send liquefied natural gas, which is a big processing thing, okay, you have to do first, which raises the cost, okay, substantially to, and they send it to you. So now that increased demand for natural gas, well, guess what? Under the various green programs of the Democrats, what happened to the source of power for most power plants? It went from coal, which
Hmm.
was considered totally dirty, to natural gas, which was considered half clean by, the
Right.
standard. And so now all of the recently reformed power plants are being powered by natural gas. And so the price of natural gas has gone through the roof
Hmm.
because of the increased demand. And that's what's causing the increase in electric rates right now.
The
Um,
old elementary theory of supply and demand.
Well, especially if you say, "Oh, well, we're going to supply everything. We're going to conquer the world. We're going to make American natural gas producers, basically
Hmm.
supply everything and lock out the Russians and the Chinese from South America. This whole imperial thing that he's doing. Um, yeah, that's what's causing the prices to go up. And that she was Samantha Smith is her name, by the way. She's an interesting person probably to get to know a little bit. She's a really first class researcher. Um,
Okay.
and and uh, and she knows exactly how many jobs are on the line. But it's interesting. She said, for example, the position of the AFL-CIO is that this is a lot of work, and we want the work, and we also want the communities where they have to derive some benefit. But apparently, down in one place, one of the counties in Virginia was presented with this proposal. They wanted to build two data centers in the county, and they made all this pitch and negotiations, and then they finally the local town or county said, "Well, we want to be able to get some more income out of this, so we're going to want to be able to tax you for this and that." He said, no, no, well, none, no, no check, no, we're not going to do anything. You take it as it is, or whatever. They said, and the county actually wanted it. They wanted to be able to get because you got a $1 zillion asset now in the county. It's worth something.
Sure.
And so but the whoever the front group or the bunch of billionaires that are running these data centers owns them, they said no. And then the town said, "Well, we can't do it then." It says, "Well, then we're going to cut the number of data centers down to one, not two. Punish it."
Hmm. Hmm.
Hold on. Why is that coming on? That's because I don't know how to program. Anyway, and so the town said no. Okay, they actually said no to it, but they got railroaded by the state anyways for one of them. So one of them is going to be there, but they're going to get nothing from it. At least that's what their position is.
Hmm.
And so that was an example where she was saying, I mean, the town was right to say no. We're not going to get anything from it. Say no. Okay.
Sure, sure. And
Even though
it
you're
sounds
under
like
all this pressure and you're being, there's a lot of, I mean, they were told by the state they might not get their state, allotments for education, blah, blah, blah,
right.
blah. There's a lot of, threats made. Anyway, so there they are. And, but now in Maryland, the governor came down, I think, much better, and the Maryland data centers that are underway are going to be fully powered by their own power plants, or they're supposed to be, or fully paid for by their own supply. And it's really generating the supply and local power generation, because otherwise, if you put it on the grid, I mean, you can claim you're going to pay something for it, but supply and demand will have its own effect,
Sure.
and if they use too much, the prices will start to skyrocket again.
Hmm.
So anyway, I think my major concern is that, the labor movement and the Democratic Party don't end up in what they ended up with at
No,
Rockwell.
yeah.
Because if you do that, you're dead. You're not going anywhere.
No,
Okay.
no, no. And yeah, I mean, uh,
Get a reasonable position where, yeah, we can't say no to the jobs. On the other hand, we're going to fight like hell to get, the benefit out of it so we can educate our people and take care of each other.
right, right.
Um, I don't, so anyway, I wanted to wait until I got a lot more information and get the IPW.
I agree. And we are bombarded right now. So it is really, really, really hard. I'm finding my feeble brain is pretty tired. And it's almost like you have to pick one topic and educate yourself on it, Like it's just too hard with all of this stuff coming at us every day.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an all around assault on everything. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would say that the big ray of hope is Minneapolis.
I mean,
Um,
it's a ray of hope.
it's a ray of hope. The
Yes.
fact that everybody got together and shut down, well,
Mm-hmm.
partially, mostly shut down part of the city, and everybody got together on that, and both the faith community, the trade unions, and I think broader forces as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're standing up, okay, and I think that's what's got to happen, okay, in a way. I mean, you have to defy them and force them if you can um,
I,
to bow out.
yeah, I think that the that whole situation is a foreshadowing, a very, very, very small foreshadowing of what is to come. And I was speaking to someone yesterday. Um, we can always go back to the predictions of, George Orwell and anti-capitalists and, just different philosophies that kind of alluded to some of what is happening now. But if you really, when I break it down, I know a lot of people from a lot of walks of life, and my biggest fear is about the elections, right? And the people, the have-nots have not time. They have not any time or energy to fight sometimes. And then the haves, even the haves that understand what is happening, I have gotten the sense from some that I've talked to, they're like, I just can't take it in. I've just gotta like be grateful for where I am. So it's almost
Right,
it's
right.
creating this complacency between the two, you know, fragments of society. I mean, I mean, and I'm talking the haves are what we call middle class,
Yeah,
but they're scared of losing what they do have. Like, well, I just better be grateful for what I do have and keep my mouth shut.
right.
So there's this forced complacency that I didn't see coming. I've always thought we were going to get to this place of a 90-10 society, but I didn't expect all this middle of the road, um, just complete, uh, like I just better comply and
I better
and
back
and
off.
yeah, yeah. That is
Yeah.
something that I find when I really try to dig deep that is really troubling.
Well, I
And
mean, it's scary, right? I mean, in
yeah,
other words, you get somebody that has some, once you realize you have something to lose, and they're the lunatic out there that's ready to take it from you.
hmm hmm
Sure, you start to evaluate whether the resistance is working,
Right,
and
right.
whether or not you need, and where is the protection? And it's a tough thing for the United States. This is the hardest thing probably because
hmm
there's I don't think there's any more capitalist country in the world than this one.
Right,
And everybody, do it on your own. Well, when shit falls apart, you can't do it on your own. And
right.
your
And
only
I
protection
think
that
it,
you're that's the
I
lesson of
think it really
solidarity.
hit me this week with the whole Washington Post situation. And I mean, what what does Jeff Bezos care about 300 salaries? I mean, that's like, 10 cents to him.
Yeah.
And that I think what happened with that this week is the most frightening thing so far. I mean, we've got the big monster in the room, but as far as like trickle downs,
Yeah.
that that's pretty intense. And
Well, I mean, Bezos relies and uh, huge on federal support. For example, the post office.
right.
The overflow on his orders all go to the post office. Okay, I
hmm
mean, if he doesn't have enough trucks to get it out there in time, he goes through he goes through the post office.
Right.
And uses all these public things, and he gets it. Now, he's made a deal with clearly made a deal with Trump.
Well, that actually
Hold
came
on a
out
second.
last night.
1 second.
hmm
There was a doggy disturbance.
Well, if
Yeah.
you could see my computer right now, here, look at mine.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Okay, right.
Yeah, I just keep hoping he doesn't press a button that destroys my connection.
Yeah, right. Well, what's coming up? We got Valentine's Day coming up here.
We
On the
do, we
in
do. We all have to have something to look forward
in
to,
Paris.
right?
Yeah, right. And so when are we coming over for dinner? When are we having dinner, by the way?
Afterward.
After, right? After.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, Steve Warner is going to play a few little port pieces of John Prine's song at the introduction of the movie, and then we'll watch the documentary and then just come right on over.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're ready for it. We're ready for it. Actually, after that, I think Carol's going to some retreat where they're going to talk about how to resist ICE. The Quakers and some other people around the state are
Oh,
gathering to.
good.
Well,
Good.
that's a good thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I was just reading this morning um a little bit about the big warehouse. I think that's in between Williamsport and Hagerstown. Have you read about that yet?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're talking about that being a detainee center.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I think that should be a target to oppose. I see that there's been some demonstrations out there already
There
about
have
that.
been. I did see some pictures of that yesterday.
Yeah,
I
that's a
mean,
very
whatever
big deal.
that means. I mean, what are you going to
They
do,
were
right?
talking about building one in Summit Point too. I don't know what the status of that is right now, but
Well, I guess the most striking uh news that I read, I guess before I went to sleep last night, was that one of our legislators in West Virginia, and I haven't talked to Lucia. She's been very, very busy, but she is going to come on and give us an update when she can. They've hit the ground running up there. There are a lot of Democrats running in local
there
positions.
are.
Yes, yes. So that's the good news that she shared with me. But um, so there's a bill proposed that would require the governor of West Virginia to be born in West Virginia. And
Really.
I couldn't
Does that
redact
mean that
I
Morrissey would
couldn't
have to
figure
quit?
out from the article like what the purpose of that was because even Patrick Morrissey wasn't born in West Virginia.
Maybe it's an anti-Morrissey bill. I understand there's a lot of the Republicans that hate him,
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
you
So
know.
yeah, I want to pick her brain about that one, like where that's coming from. I mean, that would have really I mean, that's I love my state. Please don't take this wrong. I love the state of West Virginia. But boy, would that narrow the gene pool.
You think we already have a gene pool problem? Yeah.
You know,
Um,
like what?
yeah, I don't think he's not very popular in the Republican caucus. I mean, there's a bunch of see, and you got this the Christian nationalist group.
Oh yeah.
All right, they're probably the most deadly in certain respects because they're the ones that give basically sustenance to these complete lunatic stuff that's goes up gone like a holiday for Charlie Kirk
Oh, don't even get me
or
started. Yeah.
the stuff that keeping it all this money he's going to get. He's supposedly going to get 170 or 190 million dollars from Trump to make up what's being lost and likely close hospitals in the big beautiful bill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and also I understand there's 20 schools closing, but
Yeah.
it's not clear. And some are sort of scheduled to close, some are closing. It's not entirely clear how many that is, but yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
it's a complete disaster.
it makes me want to reach out to Riley Moore and invite him on the show and just see if maybe they've handpicked a bunch of Capito Moors for the next like 8 terms or something in West Virginia. It sounds very behind the scenes
Yeah, well, I mean, 3 or 4
handpicked,
years
right?
ago, before he lost to John Doyle, he was a moderate Republican.
Oh, not anymore. Whew.
Right? No, I know. And not only that, but with him, now I met him 2 or 3 times, and this act that he's doing now, where he's passionate about the Nigerian Christians, that's complete calculation.
Oh yeah.
He made his mind up after he lost. Okay, someone schooled him and said, you can't win anymore like that. You have to run, as a Nazi, basically. Okay,
Hmm.
and start doing this bullshit with Trump.
Hmm.
And whenever he ran for the state treasurer job, he changed his political identity just completely from the so-called reasonable kid from a very proud of his family, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing,
Oh yeah,
to
back in the day,
this thing.
we had him on the
We
radio
did,
show when we still had a live show.
yeah, we did,
And he was very reasonable and very likable and
yeah.
um
But he obviously have
yeah, he's had a something.
Yeah, someone told him, "Well, here's the way to win. Okay, you have to play this game, and this is the way to get to the top or
Well,
whatever."
and
Worked for him so far.
his yesterday, see his newsletter comes out on the same day as the Observer. So yesterday, this is the first line of his newsletter. Fellow West Virginians, my Catholic faith is at the center of my life. That is the first sentence of a newsletter talking to his constituents.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
guides how I raise my family, how I treat others, and yes, how I vote in Congress. And it goes on and on and on. And it is
It's horseshit.
amazingly bothersome. I mean, okay, so I'm on the fourth paragraph and he's still talking about his Catholic vote. And I do want to say, you know, I know many Catholics who do not think the same way he
Yeah, well,
thinks.
of course. I mean, including the Pope.
Right, 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 right.
So, yeah.
Um, so it's really it's really bothersome when we get so here's his Catholic, and that's how he treats people, right? That's how he started it. Down in the sixth paragraph, we must ensure the Trump administration has the resources necessary to fully secure the border, supporting ICE's enforcement mission, and honor the clear mandate from the American people to provide robust immigration enforcement.
Right.
So so he can look at what's happening and say that's in alliance with his Catholic faith, you know?
It's all calculation.
I know.
I don't think he believes a word of it.
I know.
That's what gets me. You get so a level of cynicism about politics to the point where, you say, "Oh, well, here's a winning line." Well, I don't agree with any of that. Well,
Well, and then
do you want to win or not?
well, I think there's got to be something, they're scared about because also just before I came on, I read, I don't know where I read it, that Trump, I guess, announced this morning or last night about a prayer day on the mall in Washington or at the Capitol in
Yeah,
Washington. So
yeah.
they're all jumping on this, Christian,
Mhm.
that's going to be like this big
That's
thing to
the
distract.
excuse to bypass everything. Well, I mean, who gives a shit about the Constitution? God says this.
Yeah,
According to the Trump Bible, God says blah blah. I mean, if
yeah.
you can buy into that, you can buy into mass murder, nuclear holocaust, the whole fucking ball, the whole thing. You can get the whole ball, of wax.
Right.
Apocalypse, shit, of course, yeah, I'm scared, yeah, but they're gonna blow you up too. All ready to go. For free.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah. So that's what we've got. So I can't help but think this you have to be born in West Virginia thing has something to do with some hand-picked Christian lineage that they want to,
I honestly don't know. When these guys down there talking to each other about this kind of social whatever, it's difficult to. I mean, it looks like incompetence. When it
Mhm.
rolls out at the end. You've spent the whole legislative session debating shit that matters to nobody. And will
Yeah.
result in nothing.
And
Okay.
I want to make it clear to listeners that I consider myself a Christian light. I more follow my Buddhist practices, but I grew up Christian and lots of my friends and family are Christian and um these aren't Christian values. They're not the Christians I know and respect. And so I just wanted to make that clear. I'm not Christian bashing. I'm calling out phony Christians.
Well, for example, I mean, it's possible that I told you some months ago I had a dream in which, I had put on my little pointed hat and all of a sudden I could talk to the animals. And
Mm,
uh and the first thing they told me was to stop barking,
I want what you're smoking.
you know. Well, so I had this dream, all right, in which all supposedly the cats and dogs were all agents of an AI operation on Ganymede, the planet Ganymede, and that they were spying on us and managing our entire, uh,
Oh, well, I trust the
you know.
cats and dogs way more than who's in charge now. So
So, and, and I thought it sounded pretty scary, but actually, I was kind of comforted by the idea.
I,
There's the dog god that's watching over us someplace.
hey, you got my vote.
Oh man,
So
it
I
drives
think
you.
I think that's a great place to end, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The dog god is gonna get up. It's gonna help us out.
The cats and dogs party. If we're gonna have a two-party system, it may as well be the cats and dogs.
That's right. And so now we know that Atlas 3I didn't come from actually outer space. It came from Ganymede. It was just circling around to take a look at us and see how we're doing.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, all
I
right.
am so glad we figured everything out this.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try. I have much more time now. Next week, I think I have some people coming on. I think we can get on. I want to try to get um, more of the faith community to talk to about how they can, for example, a very important part of what happened in Minneapolis was barely based on the mainstream churches. I mean, the
Mhm.
AFL-CIO got involved in it, and that made it possible to do, like when they sat there and called for let's have a 1 day no no work, no shopping, no nothing,
Mhm.
general strike, quote unquote.
Right.
Um, that the whole thing got glued together, and all of a sudden, the Republican who was going to run against the governor um, says no Republican can now win in this state, any office, because of what Trump has done. And so that's I'd like to get to that point here.
I fear political amnesia. In the moment, these things take a lot. They take a stronghold, but it takes a continuation and kind of some sort of keeping that feeling alive that we haven't been able to muster up because we've had these huge things within like-minded people in our party and independent parties, but we haven't been able to sustain that come election time. If elections were tomorrow, absolutely. But sustaining that till November, ugh.
Yeah.
That is the exact chaos that we live in, and it is intentional chaos. It is
Is
in,
anybody who's running here in our county this time?
I
Do we
know
know?
Lucia is,
Oh, she's
and
running again? Oh, good. I didn't know whether she
she
was up on.
just made her announcement at the Capitol about 3 days ago.
Oh, great, great.
So she
Uh,
will be running, and her opponent has already started the nasty messaging. Um, So we've got that, and I'm not sure who is running in your district.
oh,
Um,
well, this is the in our
99.
district. This would be Doyle's district, or what used to be Doyle's district. Is it
Yeah.
still Doyle's district, Harpers Ferry? I don't think so.
I'm not sure how it's all broken down with the Perry
I
district.
lost kind of lost track. We got to
You
figure
were
that
you
out
were
again.
weren't you between Maria Russo and Ridenour?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was definitely in Maria's district. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
that's Ridenour, right? Okay. Well,
So
is she going to run again, or we don't know?
I don't know. I have not heard about other districts except some down in the central part of the state and in Charleston. There's a ton of Democratic opposition running throughout the state.
Right. Yeah. Um,
So that was really great news. That was the best. But hopefully Lucia can get on in the next couple of weeks and give us some insight as to what the vibe is there.
okay. Well, that would be great if she can do that. Okay.
Mm,
And all right. Well, we're gonna. I don't know. We were supposed to try and get some more candidates. I know that the Labor Council wanted, but I just said we just didn't have a time with this year. Maybe in the next cycle we can work on doing that. I would love to run for office on a higher wages program, just
mhm,
simple like that. And
mhm.
you
Now, would that
know,
be the cats or the dogs?
well, no, that would be my approach to handling economic questions. Okay.
Sure.
Because it has to be simple enough so people get it. You have to get rid of the phrase mongering and all that stuff. So it's simple enough, and it's probably oversimplifying, but nonetheless, you got to be able to say when
I
you're having an
honestly think
argument,
that's
you're for low wages, okay? And if people want to vote for low wages, that's fine, but I don't.
honestly, I do think that is the key. I think you hit on something. I almost think oversimplification is going to be a necessary strategy coming
Yeah,
up because we have too much information entering our brains on a daily
right.
basis. And
Like the data centers.
if you
Is
can
it going to
find
raise your pay or
yeah,
not?
yeah. So I'm with you on that one. Well, you have a great day,
All
John.
right,
And
pal. All right. Take care of yourself. All
yep,
right.
I'll
We'll
see
see you
you
at the
on
end of the week, right?
Friday the 13th.
Friday. Oh, that's what a great time for a John Prine concert. Okay.
Well, we'll see each other for our podcast on Friday the
That's right.
13th.
All right.
And then we will celebrate if we live through Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
We will
That's right.
celebrate together on Valentine's
It's
Day.
week to week here in the USA.
It
All right,
is.
everybody. Take care of each other. It's late, but everything comes next.